In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can move to Denmark for free. So if you're interested in relocating or immigrating to Europe, then this is the right video for you because I'm going to be showing you everything and anything you need to know about relocating to Denmark free of charge. So if you want to know more about how to do this, then I suggest you to give me just 1 second. I'm gonna dash you off to the market, and you guys already know I'm gonna be right back with more.
You know the way I do it when I drop lyrical. Anytime I spit lyrical, philosophical. All the niggas mimical, but they stare still on taking literal. Punchlines collateral. Maximum damage.
Hello, Chronicles. Hello, YouTube. How you all doing today? It's still your value-based King Fuse from FuseChronicles.com. Now, like I said in the introduction, in this episode, I'm going to be telling you guys all you need to know about how to move to Denmark free of charge, literally for free. Okay, now this has to do with moving to Denmark as a volunteer worker, maybe working for an NGO out in Denmark or working for a humanitarian organization out in Denmark. Now, if you are a volunteer worker looking to go to Denmark, you're not going to pay anything for visa application, you're not going to pay anything for residence permit application. Is literally free of charge. Okay, now if you want to do this, you're going to need 3 things. Is it 3? I think it's 4 things. Okay, now the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need an agreement from the humanitarian body or organization that has sought to hire you to come into Denmark for work. They're going to highlight what you're going to be doing for them. Now, listen, before I even jump into that, let me just put this out there. You are not going to be paid any salary. This is the same thing as the charity worker visa for the UK. You're not going to be paid any salary at all, but you're going to be paid bonuses and allowances, and if you get a good organization, they could give you accommodation as well. Now, let me go back to what I was saying before. You're going to have to get an agreement between yourself and the organization that is hiring you, that talks about the bonus structure, that talks about the allowances, that talks about if they're going to camp you somewhere by virtue of accommodation. Then you're going to use that to apply for a residence permit. Now, you have to apply for a residence permit before you leave your country. Okay, you're going to apply for a residence permit, and when you apply for a residence permit, after you hand that document in, whether online or via a paper-based application, I'm going to be talking about that somewhere down the line, you're going to have to do a biometric recording or a biometric capture. Now, after all this, after you finish your residence permit and your biometric capture, you're going to have to leave a period of 3 months for your residence permit to be processed, at which point, or at the end of which, a notification is going to be sent by the Danish Agency for International Recruitment and Integration. So they're going to send you a notification via email that your residence permit is ready. Now, when you get a residence permit, only then can you apply for a volunteer work visa. Now, if you are a volunteer, you can only be a volunteer if you fall within the age limit of 18 to 30 years of age. If you're 31, you cannot apply to be a volunteer to travel or to move to Denmark. You just cannot. You are not going to be granted a residence permit. Plus, a volunteer worker only can get a residence permit and a volunteer work visa for only themselves. They cannot go with their families, okay? I'm so sorry, guys. I know many of you saw the caption of this video and you started to say, oh my God, a shortcut for me to move from my country to Europe with my family. For volunteers moving to Denmark, you cannot move with your family. You can only move by yourself, okay? Now, let me just talk quickly about people who are on a visiting visa to Denmark, but when they get to Denmark, maybe they thought to change their mind and become volunteer workers. Now, there's a problem with that arrangement. In some cases, you could successfully make the transition from a visiting visa holder to a volunteer worker applying for a residence permit and getting it. But in most cases, a majority of the cases, if you travel to Denmark on a visiting visa, and then you choose to become a volunteer, maybe you apply to a humanitarian organization and they accept you and they give you an agreement letter that you're supposed to present to the Danish Agency for International Recruitment and Integration for them to process your residence permit. Now, if you get accepted, if your residence permit gets accepted, good for you. But if you get declined, you're going to be slammed with a 5-year ban, which means you are not going to be able to come in to Denmark for the next 5 years. Now, they are very, very strict about this. In fact, if you travel to Denmark, if for some reason you apply for a volunteer work visa without applying for a resident permit and you get granted, you have a period of time, you have a set period of time to apply for your residence permit while you are already in Denmark, or you're going to be seen as an illegal. And if you're seen as an illegal, you're going to do some prison time if you're caught, or you're going to be deported. It's very, very strict in Denmark. Now, what do you need? What are the documentations you need if you're looking to apply for your residence permit? Number one, you need photocopies of all the pages on your passport, from your biodata page to your empty pages, the front of the passport and the back of the passport, all copies, you need them. You need an agreement from the organization that you're going to be volunteering in. Now, the agreement is supposed to say, listen, we're hiring this person to work as this. If they're going to pay you allowances and bonuses, it needs to be stated in the agreement as well. You need to show evidence that you've taken out an insurance premium to cover you from any health care challenges you might have while working as a volunteer in that country. You need to show or submit your birth certificate that proves that you are between the bracket of 18 to 30 years of age. You need to show that you're financially sufficient. You need to show that you have the capacity to spend at least 6,589 Danish krone every day. Okay, so maybe you might need to convert this to dollars, to pounds, to euros, or to your local currency. You need to be able to prove that you can spend this amount of money every day for the duration of stay in Denmark, and you're not going to get broke. So you guys, as you guys can see, the requirements to get a residence permit in Denmark is rather steep, but the benefit far outweighs the disadvantages, all right? Because when you're in Denmark, Denmark is a very, very beautiful country. They have a lot of perks if you're working in Denmark, but to get the resident permit is a very uphill task. You need to get it before you can apply for a volunteer work visa. You guys will ask me, Fuse, how long can I stay in Denmark for while working as a volunteer? Now, you can work as a volunteer in Denmark for the duration of your contract with whatever humanitarian organization that brought you into Denmark. However, as a rule of thumb, the standard period in which you can stay in Denmark for is 18 months. after 18 months, you would have to renew your residence permit, or you have to leave the country and come back in, which shouldn't be a problem if you haven't violated any rules at all. Now, people who are from the European Union do not need to apply for a residence permit if they want to move to Denmark to work either in a paid employment or work as volunteers, okay? They don't need to apply for a residence permit. All they need to show is a residence document that proves that they are citizens of maybe Germany or maybe Italy or any other country that is a member of the European Union or the European Economic Area, and they're free to work in Denmark indefinitely. However, people from the United Kingdom do not fall under this bracket. Now, ever since Brexit, the United Kingdom, or people from the United Kingdom, are now being treated as people from outside the EU. So they will have to go through the protocol and procedure that other non-EU member country citizens go through before they can apply or get a residence permit to come into Denmark to work as a volunteer. So guys, if you guys want to find the link, if you want the link to apply for a residence permit, to apply for a volunteer work visa to Denmark, and any other thing you will need to know about how to move to Denmark as a volunteer, I'll recommend that you guys go to our website, which is FuseChronicles.com. There we're going to have all the links to all the application forms you would ever need to apply to get to Denmark to start to work as a volunteer. I'm going to leave the link to our website in the description section. Click it and it's going to take you there, and you can start to feel the way. And if you finish going through the application, or in the course of going through each application, maybe for the residence permit, for the volunteer work visa and that, and you're confused, why don't you leave me comments down in the comment section? I'm going to be overjoyed to respond to every comment I see down there. But if the comment section is too public for you, you can go up there, okay? We're active on 3 social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And all 3 platforms share the same handle, which is @Fuse Chronicles. So you can slide into our DMs with your inquiries, and I'll be sure to respond to as many of them as come in, okay? And you've watched this video to this point. I want to believe that this video was as valuable as ever. Why don't you think about subscribing to our YouTube channel, sharing this video with your friends, turning on the notification bell, and liking it, so when we drop future videos such as this one, you're going to catch them when they drop. And if you want to know more about relocating to other countries in Europe, like the Netherlands, in literally 2 weeks, 14 days, why don't you click on that video that takes you through to that information, so you can know how you can get your visa to Netherlands in literally 14 days. And until the next one, I remain your value-based King Fuse. I'll catch you guys on the next cut. Bye-bye for now.